What's going on, Lynx and Lines? I'm here with a man, a good friend of mine, a visionary. I'm so happy to have him with us. Introduce him to y'all, Mr. D'Antonio Cheatham.
Yeah.
In the house. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Phil?
Nice to have you with us, man. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you on social media real quick.
JCP Films. Everything JCP Films.
D'Antonio is a filmmaker, director,
spoken word artist.
Spoken word artist. What else? Tell me what else I'm missing.
Black Joker.
Actor. Black Joker.
Yeah. I'm an overall artist.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to share kind of D'Antonio's story and kind of some of the amazing things he has going on right now. Junior, his short film just hit over 2.4 as of right now, us speaking, 2.4 million views on YouTube, a short anti-bullying film. Talk about that, man. What is it like being an indie director, doing everything by yourself? Talk about, if you can, a little bit about budgets, man, and just what that whole process is like.
Indie filmmaking is still filmmaking. At the end of the day, it's all about the arts. It's about using this tool that we have of filmmaking, this craft. We use that craft and we use it, but we have to use it responsibly to inspire other people, get a certain message across, and it's fun, but you gotta love it.
You mentioned too the other day about resource filmmaking. That's a term I had never heard before. So talk about what do you mean by resource filmmaking?
Using what you got to make something epic. So if you're living in 2018, if you got an HD or 4K camera, you can make a film out of pieces of paper. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just think about paper, for example, you can ball it up, cut it up, fold it into certain things, and you can make a stop motion film if you wanted to. All you gotta do is take a bunch of photos, but you got the camera to actually do it. So my point is, it's all about staying creative. Yeah. Using your resources to your advantage. So writing around. Some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't write it to your resources." I say, "Yeah, why not?" At the end of the day, it's your film. Don't let nobody tell you how to make your film. Don't let nobody tell you how to tell your story. Because at the end of the day, it's yours. So. That's what I did when I did all my films, actually, all the way up to this day. Because I haven't had anybody approach me with offers or anything like that, not yet at least. Right. To do a film and distribute it through their company or whatever. I've been doing everything solo dolo. Exactly. Other than when I had help from people like yourself and a few other people that don't mind lending a hand, like Cole, my boy Cole.
Shout out to Cole, man.
Yeah, Cole and and Carmen. Who just help me bring certain stories to life, because it don't take much to inspire people.
I talked about how we kind of met up a few years ago, so I've helped D'Antonio on some of his projects in the past prior to Junior, and I've seen this man's work ethic and how he really takes every single detail into consideration when it comes to the film, which I think a lot of people, especially indie filmmakers, might not do. And I think that's why you get the kind of low budget term that everybody calls the low budget term, something like that. And I think it gives indie filmmakers a bad rep a little bit, because a lot of amazing things can be done with the everyday DSLR. Just even nowadays, iPhones, man, people are shooting films with the new iPhones. Have 4K footage. So it's like it's really about how you use what you have. And I think that's what's most inspiring about D'Antonio's work, is that when I helped him out on his set and I saw how he does everything, it's a group of his friends, it's resources that he has. So I asked him to speak on resource filmmaking, and to see that you can make something like Junior that has over 2.5 million views in how many weeks? Like, it was September 8th.
It's tomorrow will be officially 3 weeks.
Okay, so yeah, it's just under 3 weeks today, and it's already at 2.5 million views. So just to see that the same tools that a lot of people have, whether it's cameras, that everyone can kind of get access to this stuff, and you're making incredible things that are changing people's lives. You're telling incredible stories. Yeah. So that kind of helps me segue into my next question. So you've done a number, and this is for everybody to go check out. If you're not familiar already, you gotta go check out JCP Films on YouTube, and you'll see D'Antonio's directed a few films now that have different social kind of undertones to them, right? So there's like a little bit of, there's racism, there's good versus evil. And so what was it about anti-bullying? Like, what made you feel like right now was the time to write this story, or the world needed to see this story? Like, what about anti-bullying specifically made you want to go about the story, and then talk about your little brother playing that lead role as well too, and how you kind of came to that conclusion.
Granted, the world did need to see a powerful, authentic execution of an anti-bullying film. You know, they needed to see that. The world needs to see that. Now, as far as me coming up with the idea to write that in particular, it didn't just pop in my head like, oh, I want to do a film about bullying. Honestly, I never even thought about that. But when I had the film challenge that I've lost 3 years in a row.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I got a separate question. We'll talk about that in just a second.
So when they presented the theme, fight or flight, I was like, okay, that's the thing we got to go for this time. All right, bet, cool. I could do abusive relationship, man, that's cliche. I can do a bunch of guns and shoot it out, bang, bang. I'm like, that'd be entertaining. But I was like, what if I did one about a boy who's being bullied? And my little brother could star. And so that was just automatic.
It just kind of went together.
It was automatically like my brother's going to do
resource filmmaking. You said you think about you had a little brother that you knew somebody could play a younger kid role.
Exactly. And I just thought about it that way, like, oh, what if my brother can do this? Because even though he's never acted before, I know he'll listen to me. That much I know, and I know he want to be on the internet. You know, he always talk about doing videos and stuff, and I always tell him like, man, just write it down, and I got you.
How old is the Bless, by the way? I was gonna.
He'll be 13 October 8th.
Okay, so he is 12.
Yeah, he's 12.
Okay, so if you haven't seen Junior, you go check it out, which I highly recommend you do before you come back and finish the interview. But the star of that film is 12 years old as of the filming of this interview. The Bless Robinson. Yeah, so that's incredible, man. So what was that like working with him? Because that was your first time, obviously, working with your little. So what was that like directing your little brother and getting that type of emotion out of him and getting him to
it was fairly easy because one, he's my brother. I'm not a stranger to him.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and I wasn't treating him like he was my brother. Majority of the time we was shooting, it was just me and him anyway. So it was easier for him because he didn't have to perform in front of people. It was his first time out the gate, you know.
Right.
So it was very. It's easy to work with kids. It's easier to work with kids, you know.
Yeah.
So with him, as far as like his performance, like I know him. You know, I was there when he was born. You know, when my mother had him, I was actually in the delivery room. So the thing is like I know everything about him. I know what he can do. I know what he can't do. I know his ranges. I just know everything about the boy. So when it came time to perform as Junior, he was Junior. Like he is that. You know, like when I had the description in my head, nappy head, skinny, lanky kid, that was my brother. And I'm like, you look like your name could be Junior. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it was just okay, bet. When I would talk to him about certain things, you know, it's just I keep it. My directing is just basic, and this might answer a whole nother question. But my directing, I keep it real simple with people. You know, I get out of the way of the yards. I get out of the way of the story. I get out of the way of the movie. I get out of the way of the actors. I told Bless, I'm like, look, you got freedom to do what you want to do. You know, just stay true to what's going on in this scene. Though, stay true to the context of why we're doing this. You know, because at the end of the day, although we're doing this for a film challenge, you are representing millions of kids who go through this. I went through this myself, like the little thing with the knife and knife. That's something that really happened to me. So getting him to go to certain places emotionally, it wasn't all that hard, especially after he started getting the hang of it, like the second day of shooting and stuff like that. He started to get the hang of it. But the one killer scene was when he was in his room by himself, and I think that's what messed everybody up. That
in the room or was it the bathroom?
When he went into his room after he found himself when he found himself on the phone. Okay. When he went into the room, we actually prepared for that 2 days. You know, it was like days before we even shooting. And I'm like, you gotta. I would actually demonstrate it to him, going through those emotions and those raw emotions about like just don't think about no script, don't think about trying to look good. I'm like, Junior does not look good. Junior is not no cool kid.
Of course.
You know, he's a nobody. He's a lame. You know, that's why he's getting picked on.
Of course.
So when you come through the door, I'm like, you know, heavy breathing and things like that. And I learned that from a guy named Larry Moss, who's an acting coach out in LA. Big time. I never met him. I just seen him this interview, and then he was giving tips, and I took him. But you know, so I was just telling him about that, you know, because breathing helps bring out certain emotion. Like if you're going to You know, even people when they laugh, you know, some people laugh to the point they get choked up and they can't breathe anymore. You know, when you're get to a place of sorrow, you know, it's more of a, you know, it's like it's more frantic with the breathing and things like that. But in this case, the bless, I'm like, dude, you got to go through 3 different elements where you got to be extremely pissed off. Then you go back to sad and you're trying to calm yourself down. Then you just break down and now you just sobbing. You know, so. You know, I demonstrated it to him, and it was the first few takes, and it was just like, I know you can do it better than that. I'm like, right now I ain't feeling that enough. So I told him, I'm like, you gotta work your facial expressions, and like, don't even think about it. Just like the same, like how I would make you cry if I'm checking you about something. I'm like, I need you to bring that out, you know. So, and I told him tears don't matter.
Now,
tears don't matter.
How much of, because you're from Detroit, so like, how much of that do you think had to do with the actual story of Junior? Like, because I don't think we ever explicitly, I don't think it ever was explicitly said that it was in Detroit or that they were in Detroit or anything like that, right?
No.
There's nothing. Okay, so like, but how much of that environment was kind of in that story, do you think?
The bullies represent that part. Because as I stated, you know, before, people go through that, kids especially, even older people, they go through that. Where they're being pressured by the environments. They feel paranoid to go anywhere. They can't be at peace with themselves. Right. And they're scared. You know, that's all around in urban neighborhoods. You know, it's kind of like Junior's one of them good kids who just in the wrong situation.
In the wrong spot, of course.
Yeah, that's all it was.
I think that's what made it a super relatable story too. Right. It's so easy to be that kid.
Because these kids, they're not hard. You know, they just, it's the environment that.
Of course, they don't have a choice. They have to defend themselves. Of course.